Welcome to this week's training video on Socrative. I'm Jared Shaw and I'll be going through the tool with you. Have you ever taught a class where you're struggling to get students to participate? When engaging your audience, have you found that some students are starting to nod off? How about that online course lecture last week where only 10% of the class dialed in, and out of those students only a couple were actively engaged? In those instances, I have found it would be very helpful to ask students a question and get responses back quickly. With Socrative, the wait is over. Socrative is a student response system that empowers instructors to engage the students through an educational exercise. It could be a quiz or a game, and they participate via other computers like their laptops or smart devices like smartphones and iPads or other tablets. So for this video explanation, I'll be going through the purpose of Socrative, show how to log in and create a room for you to host your quizzes, and then we'll create a quiz, questionnaire, or a game, and then we'll look through what a instructor sees when they are accessing the program versus what a student sees, and show how the student will interact with the system. So I'll show a video, a smart device, and how they'll be interacting with the program. And then also how you can review the data via the computer, or you can have it emailed to you. And then I'll also show an example at the end on how it all works. So just a few things on Socrative. This is a free to use software for students and teachers. And students don't have to have a separate account. All they need to do is access a web page, or they can download an app. And this allows teachers to poll students' thoughts and also their comprehension about certain lesson topics. And you can have them required to enter their name, or it can be optional. This allows you to get some quick feedback, on which lesson points need more explanation. You can find out what students are struggling or which students are understanding the material. And you can do this very quickly and easily. You're using technology to engage students further by using an app or accessing web pages. And then questions can be multiple choice, true, false, or short answer. And then they also can include images. So we've looked at various other tools through this semester on building quizzes. And so there's not a wide variety of what you can do for making quizzes. But for a nice program to get a quick feedback from the students on their participation during a lecture, this program will be very rewarding. So if you make a quiz, then those quizzes can be shared with various instructors. And then results can be shared back to students via follow-up question. So for instance, you could ask a short answer, and then based upon the feedback that you get from students, you can turn that back around and ask the students to vote on their favorite answer. And then the results can be viewed within the software if you're on your computer. You can also send some of the results to students so that they can see how they compared versus the rest of the students in the class. And you can also email it to yourself as an Excel file.
To access Socrative, go to www.socrative.com. On the main page, you have some information about the software and about how the program works. Up at the top, you have a student login and teacher login, and then teacher sign up. So if it's your first time logging in, you'll do the sign up. After you create your account and you log in for the first time, it will go through a short introduction to the software with some images. I'll click on the teacher login since I already have an account. After you've entered in your email and password, you can click login and you come into your room. When you first log in, you can choose a different room number. I just left mine at default, and so this is the room number that students will need when they take their quiz. Right now there's no students in the room, and then it has your activities that you can perform. The first set of activities, the multiple choice, true, false, and short answer, this is where you would ask a question in class. So you're not entering it on a device or on the internet. You just ask a question in class, and then you click on one of these buttons and the students answer the question via their device. So you could have a question up on the board, for instance. If I click on one of these, say multiple choice, it goes in and it's just waiting for responses. So later on I'll show you what the student sees when a teacher asks them to fill in a quiz. The next set of activities are quiz-based activities. So you can start a quiz, you can do the exit ticket, and you could do space race. So start a quiz, this is if you have a pre-made quiz already built. Exit ticket, this is like an end of class pulse on how students felt about that day's class. So there's 4 questions that are asked. Ask their name, how well they like the class, what they learned about the class, and then the 4th question is like a random question that you could have on the board for them to fill in the answer. And then a space race, this is where you can have the quizzes ran as games. You can set up teams, give colors to the teams, and see basically how fast the teams finish the quiz. The Manage Quizzes button, this is where you can create, edit, delete quizzes and races. I have one quiz that I created earlier, a math quiz, but I'll show you how to manage quizzes. You can create or import quizzes. The import quiz option allows you to bring in quizzes using an Excel template, or you can create the quiz on the web page. On the saved quiz, once you have quizzes on your account, you can click on that. As you can see, there's a demo quiz and then a math quiz that I built earlier. And then you can edit your quizzes, you can duplicate quiz, you can delete quizzes. And you can also retrieve any previous reports that were generated earlier from other attempts. As you can see, I have some in there that I have done previously. So right now I'm going to just create a quiz. Ask me what is the quiz name, and so I will choose Math 2. Next section here is on sharing the quiz. As I mentioned in the introduction, you can share a quiz with other instructors. If I keep this on enable sharing, and once I save the quiz, I will get what is referred to as an SOC number that I can grab that and give it to other teachers so that they can use the same quiz. Then you have 2 types of questions here, multiple choice and short answer. The true and false question would essentially just fall under multiple choice. So I'll click on multiple choice. So I'll ask, what is 10 plus 18? And then put in the different answers. And then of course you would check box the one that is correct. You can give an explanation down here at the bottom if they get it wrong. Then you save it. There you have that SOC number. So this quiz has 1 question, and we can continue. We could have added more questions earlier. So I can choose Edit Quiz, Math 2. Now you'll notice that the first thing here is a short answer on what their name is. So that's automatically entered in for each quiz. Come down here to the bottom. I could add another multiple choice or a short answer. I will choose short answer. And then I will ask the question, and then they can have an answer and you can give an explanation. And then I could go to the next question. I'll do another multiple choice. In this case, it will be a true or false. So you just want to go through your questions as you get them entered in there. Make sure that you have the right answers selected. Once you feel that you have enough questions, click Save, and now the quiz has been edited and is ready to go. I will now show you how a quiz will look for the instructor as well as for a student using web pages. So prior to starting the quiz, please note up here on the upper right hand corner of the screen that I've highlighted. So the students will need this number to access the room. So I'll go down, I'll click on Start Quiz. I will choose the math quiz, and I'm going to choose the student paced quiz. So the quiz is now active. Right now it shows that there's no students in the room, no completed quizzes. I will open up another web page, and I'll go to the students version of the website, which is m.socrative.com. And then I can enter in the room number, join the room. So it says there's 1 of 4 questions. I'll enter a name, submit that, and then it asks for the next question. I'll click 150, and then it goes to the next question. I'll submit that. I've noticed that if you try to immediately hit on the buttons, it doesn't work. It takes a while. So essentially it's given the student time to read the question before these buttons become active. I haven't timed what that is exactly, but here I'll just click on this is false, and then I'll finish the quick quiz, or I can let another student take the quiz. Say for instance somebody didn't bring their laptop or a smart device, which I'll show here in a moment. I'll click on let another student take the quiz, and then they write their name and submit that. Now if I try to click right there on 15 like they're just guessing, it didn't take. So like I said, that it's given some time for them to figure out the question, and I'll click on there, got it wrong, go to the next question, and I'll put an answer, submit that, choose incorrectly again. So now again I can have another student take the quiz, or I can finish it. So I'll click on finish, and that's it. So the student is now looking for another quiz from the instructor, or they can log out. If I go back to the teacher, it shows that there's one student currently in the room, or I should say one laptop or one device logged in. And then under the completed quiz, you see 2 of 2. Now I can click on live results, and it just gives you a brief summary. If I choose end activity, it asks me if I want to email a report to myself or download it, or no report. I'll choose download. Down here on the lower left, it's downloaded the report. I'll open that up, and I got an Excel sheet that gives me who's taken the quiz and their answers. Green highlight means they got it right. Red is that they got it wrong. No highlight, that's your open-ended questions. Close this down, and I'll now show you how it looks from a smart device. So I'm going to show you how this looks on a app. So this is the instructor's app that I downloaded onto my iPhone. And so it looks very similar to the web page. So I will go down here to starting a quiz. Click on the saved quiz. I'll choose the math quiz, and I will do the student paced quiz again. And so now it's looking for people to answer the quiz. I will go to the student's version, and I'll need the room number. Join the room. Now I need to enter names. There's a name there. And then I go through, answer the same questions that I saw earlier. And again, there's a slight delay where you won't let you just immediately click on the response. You can let another student take the quiz, or I will finish the quick quiz. And then that's it for the student. And then I go back to the instructor. So it shows there's one quiz that's done. You can look at the live results. And I get to choose the end activity. And then I can't download the report on the app. I either email it or no report. So I could choose to email the report. And then it just emails it to your email address that's on the account. The last thing that I'll show you is the exit ticket. So I'll click on exit ticket. This is what the instructor sees again. So go to the student. The student's already logged in. So exit ticket has 4 questions. So I'll enter my name. And then it asks, how well did you understand today's material? Next question, what did you learn today? So I'll put math. And last question, please solve the problem on the board. I'll put what problem? And then I can have another student do the exit, finish the exit ticket. The activity is completed, so I'm waiting for the teacher again. I go back to the teacher, and it has one activity that's there, and again, they can end the activity, email the report. This concludes my training video on Socrative. In review, we logged into Socrative, and by doing so created a training room to store quizzes. We created a quiz and tested out the exit survey. We saw how the software interacted for both the instructor and the student, whether they were using the web or a smart device. Upon completion of a quiz or other activity, we also saw how the data was formatted for further review. As you can now see, Socrative is a great program that allows instructors to get a better feel for how students are performing in the class during a lecture. By utilizing the web or smart device app, the instructor can quickly gauge how the class is performing and who is underperforming. Special attention can be placed on particular topics where students are struggling. Furthermore, this tool will help break the ice with those students who struggle to voice their questions within a classroom environment. Overall, I really like this software and what it can bring into the learning and teaching process. Thank you for your time.